Hello, everyone. This is Sykes Music Studio. We are back in our sequencer tutorial. As you can see, we haven't added too much to our presentation here. Most of what we've done this week has been bug fixes, but I did implement a form loop. This is pretty interesting. What it's going to do is every 4 loops, not 4 repetitions of the loop, but 4 full loops. So all 4 repetitions is 1, and then you get 3 more of those. And what's going to happen is it's going to change the seed and reset our sequencer so that we get a stable looping binary or double binary, or even ternary if you want to exclude the second repetition of the B. So essentially a simple form shaper. In the future, I'd like to add a C section, so you can have an A and a B and a C, and then you can make more complicated forms like rondo or whatever you want to do. But let's play around with it. We'll leave it going for a little longer than usual so that you can hear what I mean when I'm talking about the form loop. And yeah, let's make some beautiful music. All right, so I think you get the idea. Now, there are some timing issues that I'll need to work out here in terms of the fluidity of the A section into the B section back into the A section. But you can hear that it's on a stable loop now. It's not just looping into infinity, but you might still want that. So I included it as an option, but yeah, it's pretty useful if you're trying to create a sequencer that can essentially produce a complete song. I mean, this would be pretty much required for that. So let's pop into our patcher and see where we're at. So a lot more encapsulation here. We can go up here. I've added a lot of these -1 times -1 into the gates here, and those are all going into our on off. So when this turns on, it's going to send a 1, which is going to be 0 because it's 1 minus 1 is 0 times anything is 0. And if it's 0, it's going to be -1 times -1 to make 1. So it's basically just taking the inverse of our on off and using it to power these gates. And what that's doing is, wait, are these going to the on off or? Yeah. What these are doing is essentially, yeah, I see it, is they're stopping the reset from affecting certain elements while our form looper is happening. Because if we have to reset in order to create the loop, but we don't want to reset our seed while we're doing that because we're actively changing the seed with the form loop. So yeah, it's just making sure that the reset button doesn't interfere with that. And I might have to separate those into two separate resets, essentially, like a reset for exclusively for this, and then a reset for everything else. So, and then one of them could be potentially hidden and doesn't need to be interactable. But we'll see. I haven't gotten enough time to play around with it just yet. But when I work on my next piece, we'll play with it. So right off the bat, here is our form loop. And we come in here. What's happening is we have, I probably should have waited to encapsulate this before so I could share it a little easier. Okay, so our right inlet is taking the seed number and not the seed itself. That's because we're adding to it and then modulus to get a new seed essentially from the original seed. mstart we'll talk about in a minute, but this is actually no, we'll talk about it now. We need to talk about it now so you understand. mstart and mstop is our sends that are coming from our melody, and these are there so that the form loop knows when to change form. So essentially, it's taking the output from our both our melody itself and then the melody loop, and we're using that up here to bang on this counter. And once the counter reaches its maximum, and you'll realize that, or you should see that counters are really, really valuable because they can help you trigger events periodically there. It's going to come in here, and depending on what section we're in, it will send either to this one, which will change it to the other one, and then bang out a bunch of different information like the seed. I also have like a proto key change element, and I'm going to leave myself a comment here to expand upon this. Expand on key change. Because right now, basically the B section, as it were, is getting it's essentially sort of changing keys to the dominant, but it's not doing it in a fluid way necessarily. But yeah, so that's basically what's happening is we're changing the gate back to the other section. We are changing the key, and then we are changing the seed, and then we're resetting the loop. And again, we have this. This is just another one of those don't reset me's. And let's see. Huh. Oh, okay. So yeah, then our second inlet is just our on off. And when it's 0, we turn this off so that when you don't want to use it, it isn't interfering with anything. So a little bit more complicated. I hope you were able to follow that, but I shouldn't have encapsulated it just yet because it would have been easier to explain where I can see all the connections. But anyway, over here we have our rando, and it's just what we had out there, but with when it wasn't encapsulated. But now we've duplicated it, and we're using 2 randoms for our Veldine or velocity dynamics. And this I just got rid of the sine cosine, and now there are just 2 different random numbers that are influencing those elements. And again, we'll still probably want to play around with that to get values correct, but I think it's a lot better now. Before it was really jumping all over the place, and I didn't want to lose the dynamics, but I had to compress it at least to some degree to get it to make sense. Now it seems like it's within a reasonable range just naturally. Let's see, what else did we do here? So we did all this. As you can see, a lot of what is going to remain outside of our encapsulated stuff is going to be sends and receives. We have a couple of calls and stuff, but we're kind of compressing everything so that we can maintain our real estate here, our physical space, to continue to develop stuff. Now we had to completely rewrite our leap check. It wasn't working as intended. Basically, we were using the note that came before to influence the next note, but we have to go a step further, because you have your initial note, which is going to is just the baseline. We have your second note, which if it leaps too far, then we need to we just need to take that note and add or subtract one. But what we were doing was we were adding or subtracting one from the second note and not the third. So now it's subtracting or adding from the third, and it will essentially, it'll do what we want. So what we have here is a trigger, 3 integers coming in. Those are just our note values, and we have a gate. When the gate is set to its second outlet, it's just sending through. When it is set to its first outlet, it is taking the previous note and adding or subtracting one based on which direction it leaped. And then we have our check. This didn't really change. This is just our leap check. So if it doesn't come through, it'll add. If it does, it won't. And it will, let's see. Oh yeah, we also had to add a gate here to stop this one or this one from overriding the one on the left from overriding the one on the right, because this one theoretically could have said, yes, we leapt too far. And then this one said, I didn't leap too far. And then it would have overwritten the other one. So a bunch of bug fixes in here, but it's working now the way we wanted it to. And yeah, when it, right. So when this is coming through, it's opening this gate, and then it's closing that gate when so that it doesn't double. Basically, it also was kind of compounding on itself, where if you leapt, it wouldn't. I'm trying to remember why I did this, but I know there's a reason. I think that's right. It would, if you sent, yeah. So if you sent the third note in, and for whatever reason it also leapt too far, it was influencing other notes and doing other things. I'm trying to remember. Do I really need that? I don't know. Well, let's leave a note to check on this and see if we need it. But I'm pretty sure we need this, and I don't really remember why. Yeah, this is getting to be a pretty serious patch here. When you can't remember exactly what you put stuff in for. But yeah, so that's the updated leap check. Showed off the updated velocity dynamics. And then yeah, this is where we're changing key, so it's just a +0, and then when we are in our B section, this sends out a 7. When we're in our A section, that sends out a 0. But for the key change, we're going to want to do it in a way where the previous note, it changes key to something that the previous note could have connected to, right? So let's say the previous note was a 7. Well, it doesn't make sense to jump to the 5th and then change keys that way. So we'll play around with that. But for now, it's just a kind of a simple placeholder key change. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where we are at this point. in the next video, we're going to, again, just keep bug fixing this. I'm sure there's more bugs that I haven't found, but overall, it's sounding a lot cleaner. We will flush out our key change. What else do we want to do? Oh, I still haven't. I just realized today that I still haven't implemented a meter control. So we'll take a crack at that. Essentially, what we're going to do is we can maintain our system here, and then just if it would go over or under the value of our meter, we just shave it off, or whatever we need to do. But so we'll play around with it. We'll try and implement meter. We'll fix bugs. We'll do all that good stuff. And as always, I truly appreciate all of your support. And I hope you have a great day. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.